Hey, how's it going? Jason Parker, of course, you're following me. So March 11th is today, 2019, but 17 years ago on March 11th, 2002, I was living in the city of Chino Hills with an aunt and uncle of mine, and I had this plan a few months before that I was going to leave Chino Hills and I was going to come to Los Angeles. And I had a friend, I was going to borrow his car, and I was going to basically live in this car and go to film school. And basically my friend, things fell through, he couldn't leave, so I couldn't use his car. So I was sick and tired of being in the suburbs. So I had this great idea, all of my friends from high school at the time, this is about 4 years after we graduated, they're all graduating college, which me, I'd put in just a few semesters here and there by that time, nowhere near graduating. So I decided I was gonna leave California and I was gonna spend 3 months hitchhiking around America. And so I ended up going on the road. My aunt and uncle, they drove me to Anaheim, where I got on a Greyhound bus, and then I took this Greyhound to Vegas because I figured Vegas was the closest big city to California, and I knew there was no hitchhiking in California. And also going into Vegas, this was the first big city I'd ever been to. I'd never been in Los Angeles. I'd been always on the outskirts of these tiny little suburby places. So I get into Vegas and I've got no idea what I'm doing. I've got this giant backpack on, this 40-pound backpack. And I get off the Greyhound station. The Greyhound's up in North Vegas, and this is before North Vegas was cool, near Fremont Street, when it was pretty shady. I mean, Vegas is still pretty shady. But so I don't know what I'm doing. I walk around. I remember going to a payphone, and I don't know what I was doing at the payphone, what I was gonna do. I also didn't realize you could get a really, really cheap hotel room in Vegas. When I would think of hotels, I would think $60, $100, because that's just the way it goes. So I'm at this payphone, and this couple, black guy, white lady, they come up to me. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was well, I just came into town, I'm hitchhiking around the country. I'm looking for a place to stay. And they're like, "Well, hey, give us $15 and you can sleep on the floor of our hotel room." And I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That'll really help me out." Of course, I really don't realize that I could rent a hotel room for $15. So we go to this place. The hotel's called the Desert Palm. It was just one of those hotels. I remember walking in the back entrance, and it was you could just tell this place was shady. And we get into the room. Basically, this couple reveals to me that they're both crackheads and they're both prostitutes. And so I end up, and I think it's a great idea to just leave my bag there and go down to the Strip. And that was another thing too. I lived in the suburbs and I would always take the buses around, but being in Vegas, I didn't think about taking the bus. So I literally walked from the Strip all the way down to the MGM Grand. And I remember going through there, I saw the pirate show, at Treasure Island. I stopped at the Riviera, and I remember going to this buffet. And I had very little money. I had maybe $300 I left with. I got my tax return and I left with that. And I end up coming back to the hotel room. I walked a ways. I think by the Stratosphere, I finally took a bus up to North Vegas. And I get there, and these guys, they ask me if they can borrow some money, and they claim, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna pay you back, give us your bank account, we'll send you the money." And I was like, "Of course," because I'm an idiot. So I give them, I think I end up giving them $40 or $60, but a couple different times. And I go out with the guy to go look for crack cocaine, which was very, very interesting. And I'm happy that I was praying a lot at this point in my life, and I was reading a lot of the Bible. So I think that might have got me through. But so yeah, we're going out, and we're going into these shady little behind apartment complexes, in the parking structures, and it's really easy to get crack cocaine, at least in 2002. So we got this crack. And we go back to the room, and they start to smoke the crack, and they kind of look at me and they're like, "So what now?" And I think what they were implying was "You bought us crack, it's time to have sex with us." And I just kind of look at them with this kind of aw shucks. I go, "I'm going to bed." and I lay down, and I have my sleeping bag, and I just lay down on my sleeping bag. And then this couple proceeds for the next couple hours to have very loud sex. And I'm just sitting there. I ended up putting like my headphones on so I won't hear them, and I like turn the music up. And yeah, it was very interesting. I was on the road for like three months. I'm trying to kind of, as like a commemorative thing, like do basically every day kind of a little video of kind of what was going on in what was going on each day on the road. And I'll probably skip a couple days and just do a couple days at a time, but that's day one, March 11th, 2002. Thanks for tuning in.